Hello retail traders, I'm Washboardjim with a sneaky snake trading strategy where I love talking about chart patterns, moving averages, and being in the now. And we've got one heck of an earnings coming up this week. I'm really excited about everything that's coming out. Last week we got that news with Japan. Deal maker made the deal. And then I mentioned last week that we might have the EU deal coming up. Boom! So we got that going on, and I think it's going to be just one heck of a week. So Trump administration updates. Primary trade deal reached with EU after months of tense talks. So we've got the deal made. We got the deal set at 15% tariff on European goods imported to the USA. And I think that's going to be a great deal for this market. They'll have some certainty for this market to be balanced. And then we got the pow coming out this week, and kind of a little bit of nudge on the arm to clean up Powell's mess. I don't particularly like Powell. Wall Street, some of them do. I don't. I think they've kept interest rates up way too high for way too long. And it's caused a lot of problems with the middle class and the poor. So inflation was up during the Biden regime. We've had no inflation during the Trump regime. And with these deals, I think it's even going to get better. So let's go ahead and get into the charts. And we've got one heck of an earnings week coming up this week, and I'm going to point some of them out right now. We've got a real good, Monday's not going to be that big of a deal, but I think everything after Monday will start to really kick butt. And I'm talking about SOFI, we got PayPal, we got Boeing, we got UPS, we got Spotify, we got Merck, P&G. One heck of a list. And then we got Visa, we got Starbucks, we got Cheesecake Factory, Caesars. Just one heck of a week. Teva, Kraft and Heinz, Humana, Etsy, Hershey's, Hog, Meta, Microsoft, Robinhood, Carvana, QCOM, Ford, ARM, CVS, Roblox, all the Norwegian. They've been doing well. We got MasterCard. This is one heck of a week. Amazon, Coinbase, Reddit, Roku, ExxonMobil, CVX. Just a bunch of deal makers to make this market bullish or bearish. I'm very bullish. I'm very bullish in this market. You listen to CNBC and you start listening to Schwab. They've had this lady on Schwab. It's been very bearish, tariff this, tariff that, really annoying me. Squawk Box, CNBC getting it wrong, completely wrong all this year. If you'd listen to them, you'd think this market was in for a real bad depression. But to me, we're back at all-time highs. There's no reason for that rhetoric to go on anymore. But we got Humana on here. I don't know if I mentioned that or not. But I've got a few. I can't go through this whole list. It's so beautiful. So I'll be watching. Every day is going to be a tense day come Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And then we got to deal with the EU news on Monday and see how the market reacts. Any strong pullback will be a buy signal to any of the ones that I'm going to mention. And I'm very bullish in the market. Very bullish. I'm bullish. I've been more bullish than I ever been. Besides when we hit the 200 SMA about a couple months ago, and I called that out. So we're going to go with a couple time frames, and I'm just going to go through what I've got. I'm going to watch them all. But these are going to be on my main watch, and we're going to check them out right now. What I have on my watch list is up here to the upper left. Again, I'm the Sneaky Snake Trading Strategy, where I talk about chart patterns, moving averages, and being in the now. So I've got the 3-week time frame on, and I'm going to go through the indices and tell you about where we are. This is when I called the pullback, and look at that run we've had already. So I have Apple, SOFI, Wood, Wood. Okay, think of Kathy. Amazon, Microsoft, XOM, Coin, Mr., which is MSTR, Meta, CVX, RBLX QCOM, RDDT, and Carvana. So we got IWM up on the watch list right here, and I'm going to be pointing out chart patterns, moving averages, and being in the now. You already know how I feel about being in the now. I'm a Trump supporter, so if you want to put that against me, go right ahead. But you got to think like Trump, the deal maker. Wall Street are not deal makers. They pump the 52-week highs, and then they always tank on them. So let's go ahead and look at where we are here on IWM. Now I'm looking at the weekly chart, and right here alone I see a head and shoulders, and I'm going to point that out to you. We got two different lines we could go by, but we're going to put one on here. You got the left right here to the body of that one, runs up to the bodies of these with a little bit of breakout right there, and I think that's going to be your hard resistance right there, right around 299. So I'm going to put, and I think we'll hit that. Let's bring it down just a little bit lower. This is the IWM, right at 229. Now, we hit 229, that'll be the right shoulder. We hit it once right here. So that's the second time, and if we come up and we break out, we're going to move up higher to the higher resistance levels of right around 232.59. Now, if we hit it and we pull back, you'll find support right off the body of this candle right around 222.90. And I think that would be your solid support with a low, strong buy right at 218.95. So we want to keep it above the 50 SMA on the weekly time frame, and you've got what you call the 9 crossing the 50 right here. So that's a bullish indicator, and that 9 will now become your solid support if we do start to pull back and hit that 9, 9, 9, and we hit the 9 again, and we should hold that right there. So that's IWM. We got a head and shoulders, which means we'll come up and hit the shoulder line, pull back a little bit, or maybe just go ahead and break out because we once already hit the right shoulder right here. So that 229 is going to be your hard resistance with a solid support to keep it bullish at 222.90 with maybe a strong buy right around 219. That's IWM. The next one's going to be the QQQ. We're going to erase all this mumble jumble, clear chart, get rid of the support level. We have a 1, 2, 3 breakout, so that's going to now become your solid support. This is called a triple top breakout. And we're going to run them right up with the bodies. I don't use the wicks because I think they're a gift, but I will use the bodies. So that's going to be your solid support to stay bullish, which I think we could probably drop lower than that. Any strong buy. And the 9 EMA right here, which would be probably no lower than this high right here, this double top break, triple top break counting the wick. Right around 540 to hold. And then your pivot point will be the 9 EMA on the weekly time frame, right around 548. So let's take this to the daily and just see what it says on the daily time frame. As long as we hold the 9, we can be bullish, and if it pulls back and hits the 21 EMA, that's the 9 EMA and the 21, we can still stay bullish and bounce up off the daily, which is right around 555. So that's going to be our support channel for right now. Off the 9, and I'm going to shadow that in for support. Between 554.60 and 558.91, we should hold that, or we go ahead and break out with new highs. We broke out Friday with a new high on the QQQ, and you can see the run we've had. This thing's already run up $166 from my bottom call when I called this out here on the weekly. I want you to check something out. This is something that you can remember next time you ever find a support level. When you start closing in on the 200 EMA and the 200 SMA, that's a buy signal. I called this out back in September, the month to remember, and I wrote a song about that. You can go back in my archives and look it up. But when we pulled back here, I called the reversal. No one else on Wall Street could do that. They were very bearish at this time, and they were calling for a depression, recession, and a crash. And I was told, I kept laughing at them and told them they were full of crap. So 554.60 to 558.91 with an all-time high of 567.70. We can pull back a little bit and then bounce back up. Any dip is going to be a strong buy every single day. So if you get caught, if you're like at the end of the day or any time of the day, any kind of news comes out and you see a big old dip on the market, I'd be looking at the SPX and the SPY, and I'll also be looking at whatever major tickers you're in and add on to them. Or I would just look at your major watch list and find the ones that you like the most, and if they dip, buy the dip. We got the SPY next. If you have Trump deranged syndrome, you're not going to be a good trader. You got to take the good with the bad. Even I can't stand Biden, but that didn't bother me from playing the market bullish, because they were printing trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars of liquidity. Now we're not printing liquidity. The private sector is running the market. We don't have to print all that money. We wasted trillions and trillions of dollars back during the Biden regime. Did not need to be spent. The money could have come out of the private sector. So we got the SPY right here. And we got a triple top break, and I'm going to put that trend line on here. We're on the weekly time frame. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of these alerts. I'm going to the body of that candle right there, to the body of that one, and you see how we held support for the last month. So that's still going to be your solid support right there, and that's where we're going to put a price line. Because what? Triple top breakout, like I said, chart patterns, moving averages, and being in now. So we're going to put a price line right at that 620 area for support. Your next support is going to be that next candle up. But I think we're going to we'll go to the bottom of the last week's week, right around 628, to stay bullish with a resistance to break of right around 637.10. We'll take us to the daily. I'm sold. This is it. It's either going to hold the 9, which it's done here for so many days, or we're going to come back and hit that 21 for a strong, strong buy. So support channel off the 9 EMA. Watch that 9 EMA on the daily, and let's take this up to the 20-hour, 20-day, 1 hour. We could get a triple top break right here. She could land in support right there. So also no lower than that 632 to stay very bullish. That keeps you bullish. And then we got all this channel right in here. So, you know, like I said, last Friday we had an all-time high in the market. We could pull back a little bit, but we got so much good earnings coming out this week, and we got such great news with the EU. I mean, we're at all-time highs, so any kind of pullback is going to be a buy signal to me. I'm going to be going big time. I had one of my best weeks last week, and I think it's going to turn around to be one of them kind of weeks this week. So we got a Darvas spot. We got a uphill climb. You can see how we bounced off the EMA here and the EMA here, and we could, if it gets nasty in the market, we could pull back and hit that EMA right here at 630. So keep that 200 EMA in mind. But to stay bullish, we hold that 632, and we can play in the channel, or we'll go ahead and play it break out and pull back to the top of the channel. But I'm liking the SPY too. So let's go to the SPX. We'll clean it up. This is one of my favorite trades to trade. I usually cost average down in this one here. I had some heck of a trades last week. I had one bad one, but that was it. So I'm trying to find the trend line that goes up through here. I'm just going to go with a double top break for the chart pattern. And that's right off the 63 and the 50 SMA, 63 EMA and the 50 SMA where we hit right here. So if things get nasty, that could be the buy right there. Let's go to the weekly and see where them line up on that trend line. Yeah, see, this supports, this 9 is way down here. So we're going to take and do a triple top break with the body right there. And that's right there on the 9. So that's going to be your solid support right there. Let's go ahead and put a price line right there. 61.57. If things get nasty and it pulls back and hits the 9. And then on the daily, that's a triple top break. So that's your chart pattern. Yeah, see this 9's a major support level. As long as that holds, we'll stay bullish at 34. But if it pulls back, we got this here triple top, quad top, 1, 2, 3, 4. And it pulled back once and hit that resistance level, and that would have been a strong buy. I think we called that out. So the 21 EMA, the 9 EMA, and then the final support right here at 6201. 6203, and I'm going to go ahead and put an alert just in case we come back and hit that thing for a solid buy at 627.25, somewhere a little bit below that. That'll prepare me to take this trade when my alerts go off. So on the ideas that I got here, we'll take this to the weekly now. And we'll start off with Apple. Apple's a market maker. It's oversold. We started breaking out in what you call a symmetrical flag. We had the sell off. We bounced off the 200. Now, I'm telling you, if you want to really capitalize when these opportunities come up, jot down that 200 SMA and 200 EMA on the weekly. And if we ever hit that again, you get these huge bounces. So this could happen 6 months from now. It could happen in 3 weeks. It could happen in 2 years. But whenever you come close to that 200 EMA and SMA on the chart, on the weekly, you want to go long. Now, I did do that. I didn't buy a lot, but I bought a few tickers, and I ran them up. And I called this out. I go back and watch my video I did back on around 3 months ago. Check it out. 3.5 months ago. So did I put that on here for a reason? Let's get rid of this. So we got what you call a symmetrical flag off the sell-off with a hammer, and we're going to draw that flag in here. I want you to recognize these chart patterns. Every chart pattern has a pivot point. So if it does pull back, right now you're above the 63 EMA and the 21S EMA, and you're above the 9 EMA, and your resistance level here on the weekly would be the 50 SMA. And that would be a triple bottom right there where it fails. Triple bottoms are usually a buy signal, but not in this case. So we're going to put a little trend line from the body of that candle to the body of that one. And that's going to be your resistance level to break this coming week, right around 226 something here. Let's tighten it up. 227.45. So we got the 9 at 222.11. And then support to hold will be the bottom of this trend line if it does decide to pull back. And that'll be a pivot point inside of this flag, which is right there, right around 203.28. So every pattern has a pivot point. Remember that. That'll keep you bullish in the trade. If it goes below that pivot point, it'll drop down to like a double bottom or even back to the 200. But we're talking about Apple. I think we have a little bit more room to run on up and hit this head and shoulders right up here. Boom. So somewhere around 230 by the end of the week. If it decides to go up and hit that shoulder line and then pull back and then run up and break it and go for the triple top that's up here. And we're going to put a trend line right here on this triple top. See, that brings it down. So that's going to be your first resistance to break right around 218.66. If you can get above that, then we're going to start being real bullish in this trade this coming week. Around 219.29. Telling you, if we break that triple top, 1, 2, 3, it's going to run up and fill it up. And you'll hit the head and shoulders right here at 231 something. The next one's SOFI. This is one that they called out that I wish I would have took. There you go again, right off the 200 SMA and EMA on the weekly. I'm going to show you over and over and over and over how important it is to have that 200 EMA and 200 SMA on your chart when you want to buy the dip. I use it any time frame as a resistance level and as a support level. Now you got a double top right here, breakout. So I'm going to clean this up. And we're going to start fresh. We have 3 white soldiers right here, and it consolidated. So this thing could easily pull back to a double bottom, to where this double top was. And we're going to put a price line straight across. Then we're going to put a trend line and show you where resistance is on this chart. I've been doing this for 21 years, and my accuracy level is non-beatable. See how that is? That triple top come up and stopped right there. You see what I'm saying? You know what kind of pattern this is. That's called a megaphone pattern. That's called a megaphone pattern. So you got a megaphone, you got a double bottom, you got an inverse head and shoulders off the 200 EMA and SMA. So you see where we pulled back Friday to the top of the body of this candle. So we're going to put a price line right there, and that's going to be a major area for it to, if it stays above that 21.22 SOFI, we become bullish and break out. Or she can pull back to the bottom of this here channel right here to where them bodies match and be a real strong buy to go back up and run this back up. So you got a triple top, quad top on the weekly, and we're going to take this to the daily time frame. One, two, three, four, if you want to make a little bit more. 1, 2, 3 if you want to trade with me. So we're above the 9. If we stay above the 9, we're bullish. If not, we'll come back and hit the 21 and have a little bit of consolidation right there at 9, right around 20 bucks. And if that doesn't hold, we'll fall in a solid channel down. We got a gap right here. See that gap? So that's going to be our support for a strong buy. The top of that gap holds, we'll stay bullish. And the top of that gap's right on the 21. So somewhere around 20 bucks. If that holds 20 bucks, we'll run up and hit the triple top up here. And you can see the trend line from the body of that candle right there to the body of that one. And then that would have to break, turn it up here to 22.41. The next one is Hood. I think this one's a little bit overbought. Here I go again talking about that 200 EMA and 200 SMA. Let's clear this up. 200 EMA bounce. 200 EMA bounce in the SMA. Double top break. Boom! So this has had a real good run. Liberals are pissed off. They come out when this market started pulling back, and you should have heard all my liberal friends. Trump's ruined the market. None of these guys, they don't know how to trade. They're all musicians. 98% of the people I know strum and play guitar, and they're big old biased, racist liberals. So, identity politics. It ain't going to come down to that double top. So what you got here is a channel. You got 1, 2, 3 triple top, and it pulls back and hits the 9, bounces up. So this thing can run back up and find a double top up here. Let's go with that one right there. Chart patterns, moving averages, and being in the now. Go up here and hit that 109, where she pulls back, holds the 9 EMA, or hits the 21 right here for a solid buy. You see where we broke out and we pulled back right here? So I could easily pull back and hit that 97.23 and be a very strong buy and run it back up and hit that double top, triple top. We got Amazon earnings coming out this week. Let's clear this chart up. So you can see we had I had a resistance line of 238 right here, and we hit that, almost hit that last week. So let's clear this up. We have the same, I mean, everything's a big run. I'm going to show you something, see if this hits the weekly. 200 EMA, boom. On the weekly, double bottom, triple bottom right here. One, two, three. You can trade with me off the 200 EMA. It was a strong buy for Amazon. I called it out. And we've got a wedge, a rising wedge. And we're about ready to squeeze that rising wedge to a double top. Chart patterns, moving averages, and being in the now. So 238.35, and we almost hit that last week. Solid support will be this here head and shoulders. 230 to stay bullish. If not, the next support line, we've got a squeeze going on. So this thing could drop to this head and shoulders right here and be a very strong buy. And I'm going to leave that alert right there. But the strong buy would be off the 21 EMA. $211.27. Perfect. I mean, if that does dip down there, Amazon could easily run up here and hit 238.35 and make new highs and hit that double top on the highs there. That's a rising wedge. So we got a double top off the 21. You can see that nice. There you go with that 200 EMA again, 200 SMA. Jot it down. 200 EMA, 200 SMA. 200 EMA, 200 SMA. 200 EMA, 200 SMA. 200 EMA, 200 SMA. So if you ever get down to that area, remember. And we got a double top breakout above the 21. So this thing could easily pull back and hit the 9 and be a strong buy. But that might be a little bit too low. But because you see how it's respected that. There's an all-time high in the market, 518. And I get a little skitsy when we start breaking new time highs. So I'm always buying the dip, buying the dip, buying the dip, buying the dip. Any big dip, I'm ready to buy it. And I'll go to the 20-day 1 hour. And I'll look for ideas to take that trade. The 200 SMA, the 200 EMA, 200 SMA, 200 SMA, 200 SMA, 200 SMA, inverse head and shoulders, right there. You got your left shoulder, head, right shoulder, boom. And then you got a triple top. And we hit that triple top right there. 1, 2, 3, you can trade with me. Pulled back, bounced off the 21, 21, the 21, the 21 last week. So last week, on the pullback, we go into the 5-day rule. 1, 2, 3, 4, and on the 5th day, boom, with 3 white soldiers coming out with a tweezer top back to the 21 for a strong buy. So Microsoft definitely going to be on our list. Any kind of pullback on this thing is going to be a strong buy. You got a quad bottom down here. One, two, three, four. Let's make a little bit more off the 63 EMA, or she breaks resistance. Let me see if that's, yeah. Resistance come Monday. And then it could just gain respect off that resistance, 514.76, and run it up here to a double top at 517.43. And then breaks out and runs up here and hits that for the 4th time, where you can make more at 518.59. XOM, gasoline, definitely gas has come down under the Trump administration, under Biden. Oil companies were making a killing. Artificially, the war on oil, the war on energy, caused our energy prices to go up. I had a liberal come on Facebook the other day and says, Trump's in office, energy levels are going to go through the roof. That ain't what Obama said. And definitely what Biden did to our energy sector, just the rhetoric. That's, it doesn't matter how much oil has been drilled. It's the rhetoric that comes out of them fat cats out of Washington. So, I'm telling you through experience. XOM, let's look at the weekly. We'll clean this up. Yeah, we'll just clean it completely up. So here we again go. We're back here at the 200 EMA, 200 SMA, 200 EMA, Well, what happens when you hit that 200 EMA and SMA? Huh? Can you tell? What happens? You're right. You're right. So if this thing pulls back to 102 and bounces off that 200 SMA or EMA, that's going to be your strong buy area. 10-4. And we've got a trend line that takes us right there. Take the body of that candle right there and run it to that, and that runs right into the 200 EMA. And we hit that trend line there. We hit that trend line there. We hit the 200 and it bounced. We hit the trend line there, bounce. We have a head and shoulders right here. And then we got a 1, 2, 3 right here. Using the body of the candle. And then we got a trend line right here. So we got a symmetrical flag. If this thing does plop down and hit that 102 area, going to be a strong buy, folks. And I'm going to set an alert off that body of that candle right there. Type in 200 SMA on weekly. For a very strong buy to run this back up in the channel. Coin, another big breakout. There you go again, the 200 SMA on the weekly. We got a double top right here. Chart patterns, moving averages, and being in the now. I'm going to take this to the resistance level before 25. Take this to the daily. I don't get enough out of that. I got to take it to the daily. We got a resistance right here. From the body of that candle to the body of that one, right there. And we got the 21 right here, and that's double top, triple top. You see, we'll put this on here. Straight across from that body right there. I'm going to bring. We came back and pulled back and hit that off the 9. So this thing could easily squeeze and hold this support level right here, this double top break off the 21, and be a strong buy to the upside. Set me an alert right there at 379.32, and this is coin. Next one's Mister. We like trading this one in the room. We'll clean this one up real fast. It's had a little pullback to the 50 SMA right here. We're going to draw a price line all the way across, or trend line. From the top of that candle right there to that one. And then we're going to run it straight across for resistance to break. And we got the gap here, so that held right there. It held support right there. I'm just going straight across with this here. So that's going to be your hard resistance to break, 421.63 this coming week. And support to hold is going to be right here in this, right there. If we can hold 404.04, 404.04, number that I don't get to see very often. We had a resistance here, support here, support here, resistance, 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 support, 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 support. So that's pretty solid. If that holds, we're going to come up here and break that 21 and hit that 9 and go for new highs. We've got a lot of gap ups, or this thing pulls back and be a solid buy at 386 off these other two moving average, your 50 SMA and your 63 EMA. Meta. Oh, I love trading Meta. Meta's on a roll. So let's clear the page here. What? I couldn't, man, if I went through that whole watch list of them earnings, every one of them I loved, I'd be here for 3 hours. That's no doubt. So we had a triple top up here break, or double top break. Let's see where this takes us. So we established a new high. 746, 750 is our next target on this stock. 746. I got a booger in my nose. Or something up there itching. We got a gap right here. So I'm going to just hold that gap. Head and shoulders, support level, right around 701, 703. Now, I called Tesla out last week. I hope you got to watch it because you could have made a ton of money. 704.64 for support on Meta this week, or it comes down and hits that, well, at 690, I don't know. 692, I don't know. We'll go with the body of that counter right around 700. And I'll go take this to that's the daily. So let's look at the weekly real fast. Yeah, as long as we hold the 9, we're still bullish in this trade. Around 691, 692. As long as we hold the 9, if not, well, that's hard to say. I'm so bullish in this stock. As long as we hold the 9, right around that 690, we stay bullish and we can run this up to 750 this coming week, 746. And that's Meta. Where did Meta go? We got CVX. Very bullish on Meta. We broke the 200 right here. The 200 SMA CVX last week. So for the last 3 weeks. So your hard resistance is going to be right there at 155.33. With your solid support at the 200 at 153.19. And a strong buy down here off the 63 at 150. Anything below that is going to be a strong hold. And we got the 200 EMA down here. As long as we stay above that 9 EMA, we're bullish. RBLX, look at that. Look at that run on RBLX. Man, that's something special right there. What did I say about the 200 SMA? Boom! 200 EMA, 200 SMA, golden cross, where the 50 SMA crosses the 200. Boom! To the upside. So this thing needs to consolidate. I'd set an alert above the 9. I'd be looking at that 9 on the weekly every single day. And we're going to set an alert right there on the bottom of that candle for a pullback. Is that too big of a run? And then we're going to look at the daily. I'm going to clean these up here. So that's that's a strong buy. That was a strong buy signal. Strong buy. And we'll go to the daily because it's not telling me what I need to know. Let's go ahead and put that price line right there on the body of that candle. 118.66. If we stay above that, we'll take it and run it up. Go to the daily. and that's above the 9, so that's looking good. We can run it to a double top, triple top up here at 124.68, as long as we hold the 9 EMA on the daily, or she comes back and she hits the 21, which you have right here, a solid support with strong buy at 106.43. But as long as we hold the 21, that 9, look at that, 9999999999999. But if anything below it, if it hits the 21, it'll be a long, I'd go long in this. QCOM. Weekly time frame. QCOM got a little bit down in the dumps right here. Broke the 200 SMA and EMA. And we're at the 50 right now. So that's your solid resistance to break for a double top. And then you got the resistance line from the body of that candle to the body of that one. So we hit that last week, the triple top, and it could break out and find resistance there and move up to this Darvis box and break that resistance. So we'll put a price line all the way across for swing trade. This is QCOM. Funky in the room said this thing was a little bit undervalued, that it doesn't get the attention it needs, and I believe him. And if we do break this resistance level right here around 160 something, 161.92, I think we can run back up to the top of this Darvis box and hit that hard resistance at 173.52, or even a little bit lower, somewhere in that channel of 171.75 to 173.52. Very good eye on this. We keep a good eye on it. And we got Reddick, one of the strongest meme stocks out there right now. We're going to clean this up. He's using Fibonacci's on this trade on the weekly. So we have a resistance to break next week. 157. We have support to hold at the 9. And if that doesn't hold, we could, depends on how the earnings are. This is a fairly new stock. It's been around now for a little bit, for about a year and a half. So resistance to breaks can be 157.18. To stay bullish, 139.29. And if that doesn't hold, we'll use these moving averages on the weekly. The 21 EMA, the 50 SMA, and the 63 EMA. So we'll go to the daily. The 200 will be your solid support. I like this setup. I like it a lot. So I think we're going to come up and reconnect with that 157.18, or we'll pull back and get a strong buy at 139.29. Maybe a little bit higher. Maybe 141.54. But as long as we hold that 21, I'd swing this trade to the upside. I'm liking that one. And then the last one, Carvana. One hell of a run on this stock. We pulled back to the 50 SMA on the daily last week. Let's go to the weekly. Ah, man, this thing looks good. I was telling the room in 3 years, I put NVIDIA in here. This is supposed to be Carvana. I'm going to read. How did I put NVIDIA in there? Must have had NVIDIA on my mind. It's less than 3 years. Carvana is up 10,153%. So I'm going to show you a yin-yang trade right here. No lower than $300 for this trade to stay bullish. Used cars got very expensive during the Biden regime. They're up like 30%. 302.13 for a solid buy. If the 9 doesn't hold, you'll take it off the 21 off this here double top break, and it pulled back to that double top. That's called a yin yang trade for me, which makes 302.13 a very strong hold. I'll probably take this to the 20-day, 1 hour. Yeah, this thing looks like it could be ready. With solid support at 325. If we come down and do a triple bottom, that'll be a strong buy for this thing to run up and break out. I'm not very bullish on it. They had some legal issues, and I don't think that's been resolved. But used cars are up 30% during the Biden regime. And they're starting to come down a little bit under Trump, but it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard to bring them used car sales down. I'm a business owner, and once you get your prices up, it's very hard to bring them down. Just out of pure, you're making a killer profit. And who wouldn't want to keep that profit? You know what I'm saying? So triple bottom at 327. Resistance to break will be the 63. Up to the 200 EMA at 339. As much as new cars jumped, 15 to 20 grand for a new car during the Biden regime. And then the used cars are up 30%, which is up, a couple grand. They're making $2,000, $3,000 more out of a used car than what they used to before Biden was in office. I'm going to say 327 for solid support to run this thing back up to the 63 at 335. I'll be watching this one real close next week. Well, that's it. Those are earnings. You got my politics. You got my strategy, chart patterns, moving averages, and being in the now. And we've got a killer earnings this coming week. We got Pow coming out. We got the EU deal. We got the Japan deal. I can't be more bullish than I've ever been. And China's going to finally pull through and make some kind of deal with Trump. And then, let's pray for the people that are starving in Gaza. I don't support Hamas. I think it's Gaza's own fault that they got themselves in the predicament that they're in. But, we can't have a genocide like what Hamas did to Israel. So I think that thing's going to be ironed out here soon, and that'll be another reason for the market to pop. It'll take a little bit longer. Once the Gaza people stand up against Hamas, that city will get rebuilt, and it'll be a tour attraction. But we can't sit there and watch them people starve to death just because you got a bunch of freaking idiots over there. So that's it. This is the sneaky snake trading strategy. Now, this is what I'm going to give, the advice I give you and the advice that I take for myself. I can't remember all these calls I make. So throughout the week, when earnings get ready to come out, I'll go back through my video and I'll watch what I called, just to refresh in my mind of what I predicted. And sometimes almost 80% of the time, 85% of the time, I'm 100% right on. So hit the like button. Don't forget to share. Subscribe, and go back and watch this over and over again during the trading week on some of these earnings that I pulled up on this here scan. And this earnings week is going to be a big one. You got Pow coming out. You got the EU deal. You got the Japan deal. I mean, I'm more bullish than I could ever be. And I wish everybody a great week. And like I said, hit that like button. And if you want to get a hold of me and help me with my vacation coming up that I'm going to be taking, you can give me a shout. And we'll catch you later. Bye-bye.